All right, guys, how are you doing? I'm Shawn of WebPianoTeacher.com. We're going to be working on our black key scales today. In our previous lesson, we did 7 white key scales. I recommend watching that lesson first if you haven't to help you with these black key scales. Even if you already think you can go through the white ones pretty well, there's some things in there that I will teach you, that I did teach you, that will be of use here. Okay, so I recommend going through that lesson first if you haven't, and then trying the black key scales. So let's try it. But always remembering the reason we play scales, the reason why we play broken chords. I did another lesson on broken chords that's on YouTube as well. The reason we do those things is not because we love playing scales, we love playing broken chords. We do it because it helps us to play the music that we love. Then when you go to webpianoteacher.com, my website, and you play all the songs that you love, it makes it easier. You understand what you're doing, and you can play more of those types of songs more comfortably, more confidently, and have more enjoyment from them. It's like a roadmap when you're playing music, if you can understand scales, arpeggios, broken chords, that sort of thing. So here we go with the black key scales lesson. And these lessons are long, so pull up a chair, sit down, listen. Maybe you have your keyboard and you're following along with me. That's great. Okay, so the black key scales. We're going to go back to our old friend, the circle of fifths. And we'll take a look here. We did the white key scales last time. So if we did the white key scales and we covered 7 of them, okay, we did a scale on each scale degree. That's indicated by the letters that are in black. We did the C scale, the G, the D, the A, the E. We also did the scale of F, even though that was a flat key, because it also started on a white key. As far as it had a flat in it, but it started on a white key. Okay, so we did all of those scales, and that's 7 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, how many do we have left? Well, if we did all 7 white keys, there are 5 black key scales left to do. 5 left to learn. But really, when you look at this, you would say, well, I've got more than that. How can I just have 7 and then 5, a total of 12, because there's more letters, there's more keys on here than that. Well, some of them are what we call enharmonic. Okay? Let me tell you something. You learned how to play in the scale of B, right? Well, you already know how to play the scale of C flat since you learned B. Okay? You can already play in 7 flats because you learned how to play in 5 sharps because they're enharmonic. See that orange circle? Not a circle, but a loop, whatever, that for B and C flat, they're the same scale under your fingers. They sound the same. They feel the same. You finger them the same. Nothing different except how they would look on paper. Okay? You might see something written in the key of B. You might see something written in 7 flats. For C flat, it's going to sound exactly the same. It's just how it looks on paper. Okay? And there's a certain reason that happens. We're not going to get into that today, but you already know how to play C flat. So congratulations. Pat yourself on the back. You already have it. Once we learn how to play the scale of G flat, you'll already know how to play F sharp. What scale did I play? G flat or F sharp? Take your pick. Either one. They sound the same. They finger the same. They just have a different key signature and are different on paper. F sharp, you have 6 sharps. G flat, you have 6 flats. They'll end up sounding the same. All right. So that's the purple line there. C sharp and D flat are also enharmonic. Okay, enharmonic. E-N and then the word harmonic. It's all one word. D flat, when you play in 5 flats, you will already know how to play in the key, or how to play the scale of C sharp with 7 sharps, okay? So those are enharmonic. So you've done the 7 white key scales, I call them, that are in black here. So all we have left today are the ones in red. So 1, 2, 3, 4, but when you learn 4, you'll also learn that one. When you learn 5, you'll also know that one. Okay? And that'll be it, because you already did B and C flat. You didn't know you learned C flat last time in the last lesson that I did on YouTube, but now you do. So that'll be it. You've done all these 7. You have 5 to go. Does that make sense? I hope it does. 5 to go. Once you learn these 5 that I'm going to show you right now, you'll have them all learned. So congratulations. Okay? So the little loops there I put are the keys that are inharmonic. Now, the black key scales are not as cut and dry as the white ones are. They're a little bit more complicated, a little bit, but not too much, okay? The first one we're going to look at is the key of B flat, all right? And if we look at our circle of fifths again, that's this one right here, the key of B flat. In fact, I might make this a little smaller so I can go up and down easier. There we go. So the key of B flat, all right? So we're going to have... key of B flat. I'm not going to show off and everything in this lesson. I did enough of that in the white key scales lesson. We're just going to learn the scales, all right? So this is going to take some work. Practice it over and over every day, thinking about what key you're in, trying to keep your hand, like I told you in the previous lesson for the white key scales, keep it level or keep it steady at an angle just a little bit. Try not to go, have these up and down motions. Keep steady, all right? So take that information over into this lesson. The key of B flat, looking at the left hand first. And the reason I like to do the left hand first is because we always neglect it, don't we? We always neglect the left hand. We do it last, and so therefore it gets the less work. But let's look at it first today, okay? So these are your 2 flats because the key of F had 1 flat, B flat, but the key of B flat is going to have 2 flats, B flat and E flat, all right? Your 4th finger, remember, is going to go on E flat, okay? Now here's the thing about these black key scales. I have a rule up there. It says left hand starts with the 3rd finger, right hand starts with the 2. When you did the white keys, pretty much everything was 1 and 5, but not on the black keys, all right? When we do our black key scales, when we start on them, your left hand's going to start with the 3rd finger on the B flat. So I'm going to start right here. I'll do it right here, I guess. And I'm going to start with the 3rd finger. For every one of them, there's an exception, the little asterisk there. These 2 are an exception, but we'll look at those when we get to them. First, we're doing B flat. Now, guys, this should take days, weeks, months, so don't feel like you have to digest all of these scales at once, okay? Take one for today. Just try the B flat one. Once you get it, then come back to my video, watch it again. Like it, subscribe, all that stuff. Buy membership to webpianoteacher.com if you feel so inclined. But try just one, and then you can move on to the next one once you feel comfortable with it. So we have B flat. We're going to start with our 3rd finger, like the rule says. 3rd finger on B flat. Now, if you remember where the 4th finger goes, remember that from the other lesson, then everything else will fall into place. So we start with the 3rd finger just to get started. 3, 2, 1. Now E flat, that's where my 4th finger goes. That's what this chart's all about. There it is, 4th finger. Keep going, F, G, A. Now what finger am I going to use here? I'm not going to use my 4th finger because the 4th finger goes on E flat. And I'm going to do it 2 octaves, right? We learned that from the last lesson. 2 octaves. Now we cross over with the 4th finger because that's where our 4th finger goes, is on E flat. Everything works out. Now I'm at the top of my scale. I'm just going to use a 2. I mean, that makes sense, right? If I'm on my thumb and I need one more note, I'm not going to use my 5th finger. I'm going to use my 2 because it's right there. Let's go up again. Let's start right here. Starting on 3 because that's what the rule says. 4th finger goes on E flat. There it is again. 4th finger. I'm at the top. Come down. There's my 4th finger on E flat. E, C, E flat. Now, does my 4th finger go here? No, it only goes on E flat. So I'm going to use my thumb. See, it only works out one way if you remember that 4th finger. Okay, where the 4th finger goes in these scales. And B flat, to me, everybody has their opinion on what scale is most difficult. Tell you what, at North Texas, when we had our scale juries, we had to go in and play our scales. We flunked out if we couldn't play them. We'd pick in a hat and we'd pick a tonality. Man, we hoped we didn't get B flat because that was the hardest one. No one liked to play B flat. I think it's the hardest scale to play. So if you can master this one, good for you. All right, here we go again. did all that? Turn your hand at a little bit of an angle so that you don't have to go do all this stuff with your hand. Stay straight. Messed up. I didn't get my fourth finger on the E flat, and I knew immediately because that's how I've been trained. Okay, this is a lot easier than memorizing a string of numbers, let me tell you. All right, right hand. What's the rule? You start with your 2. So I'm going to start with my 2. I'm just going to play it down here because I'm kind of sitting over here at this end of the piano. Anyway, start with the 2. My fourth finger is going to go on one note, on B flat. Now, I got to tell you something that you're going to be very happy about. And I tell you what, I didn't notice this, or maybe I did years ago, but then had to be reminded. B flat. My fourth finger goes on B flat on every scale on the right hand. Yay, that's something that makes this a little easier, a little ray of sunshine and all this. So just remember that. Your right hand fourth finger goes on B flat. Every scale, yay. That'll help you remember. Now, not when you start, because you start on 2, right? Because that's the rule. You start on 2. Then when I get to other B flats, I'll start on a 4. Now you could start with a 4, but that makes it more difficult. It's just easy to put that 2 finger right there to start with. So start with a 2. Here we go. There it is. There's my fourth finger. Keep going. There's my fourth finger on B flat. Come back down. Now for the end of the scale, I could cross over with 4, but I'm just going to use my 2. See? That's why we start on a 2, because it's easier than starting on a 4 and then come under with your thumb. When you start it, okay? Start on a 2. All right, then we do hands together, right? And I have not practiced, so I'm worried I'm going to mess up. I did it 2 octaves. You don't really get anything out of doing 1 octave, guys. Do 2 octaves at least. And then when you can go 3, 4. Okay? Oh, you're 4 octaves. All right. Like I said, this was a long lesson. Hang in there. Those of you who are serious, most people will watch part of this and quit because they're not going to keep going. They're going to, go play video games or something. But a small percentage of you will actually stick with this and learn how to play these, and it'll improve your playing and make you a better musician. Guarantee you. All right, so here we go with E flat. And we're going to look what our fourth finger is. It's on A flat. Okay? So I'm going to start on 3. There's my rule. Start with a 3. So I'm going to start with 3. Here we go. All right, E flat, F, G. Now I have 3 flats now. Refer to your circle of fifths, my friends. And you see F had 1 flat, B flat had 2 flats. The key of E flat has 3, and the order of flats are B, E, A. If you don't know that, look at my lessons on the circle of fifths. See, I can't go through everything in this video. I did a lot of that stuff in the other videos that are on YouTube. Just look at I have a playlist now that says Fundamentals of Piano and the circle of fifths, part 1 through whatever. And that will kind of go through that and show you those things, the order of flats. Well, we got 3 flats now, E flat, and we have B flat, E flat, and now A flat will be added to that mix. So starting with a 3, like the rule says, 3, 2, 1. There's my fourth finger, because that's where my fourth finger goes, on A flat. Keep going, B flat, C, D, E flat. I'll use a 3. Now, A flat with a 4 again. At the top, yeah, I could cross over and use a 4, but I'm just going to use a 2 because it's right there. Then I'm going to come back down. There's my friend A flat that I'm going to put a 4 on. 4. So. Over and over. Get that practice in. You may say, I'm never going to play a scale on my left hand. If you play Beethoven, you will. And tell you, some even pop pianists will have scale stuff in the left hand every once in a while. And you'll be just a more complete pianist if you do it. You can play scales in your left hand will be awesome. And so just playing the normal stuff that left hand does will be so easy because you worked out and cross-trained with doing scales. You know, it's like sports, really. You cross-train doing your scales, so now you're ready for anything in the left hand, whatever it is. Right hand. What's the rule? Start with a 2. And then my fourth finger is going to go on what? B flat. It's B flat on all of them. Yay. So E flat, F, G, A flat. There it is. B flat, C, D, E flat. There it is. 4 on the B flat. 2, 1. You just work. Give your fingers a workout. Hands together. Got a little out of sync up there. Did you hear that? I haven't practiced these. I haven't played these. I don't know. Maybe, I hate to say, maybe 15 years since I worked on scales. But I still, you know, I have them. I can get them back if I want. But we lose them, you know, if we don't work on them. So there's the E flat scale. A flat. Okay, we got 3 to go, right? Okay, we did 3 flats. The key of E flat has 3 flats in it. That's 2 out of the way. Here's the third one. The key of A flat. It's going to have 4 flats. It's the third scale we're learning. These numbers are just telling you how many scales we had left to learn today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They have nothing to do with flats or sharps or whatever. They're just the scales we had left to learn. So the third scale we're learning today is A flat, and it has 4 flats, and they are B, E, A, D. See how we add 1 each time? We started out with the key of F with B flat, and then when we were to our B flat scale here, we had B flat, E flat, and then B flat, E flat, A flat, and then B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat. Lost my place, my train of thought. So the key of A flat now has 4 flats, and we're adding D flat to it. And we'll do the left hand first like we're doing. What's the rule? Start with a 3 for the left hand. So I'm going to start with 3. A flat, B flat, C. There's the guy I want right there. D flat with the 4th finger. Remember that? And you're golden because it won't work any other way. D flat, 4th finger. If you put a 3rd there, you're all messed up. That's where we mess up, is when we put a 3rd finger where the 4th finger is supposed to be, and then we get mixed up, and then we get lost and have to make up stuff to try to finish the scale and still pass our scale jury. But it doesn't work because they're watching, and they'll know we messed up. All right, so 4, 4, 4, 4. At least do 2 octaves. I'd do 2 and then 4, because if you can go 3, then you can go 4. Really, I would go 2, and then when you feel like you're really ready, try to go 4. Because doing 3 just is kind of weird. If you can do 3, you can do 4. Is the deal. Now, right hand. What's the rule? Start with a 2. Oh, sorry. What am I doing? I'm on A flat. It goes on B flat. Now we're going to start with a 2. And you say, well, why didn't we have our 4th finger right away on the A flat? Why didn't we have a 4 there? Because we're just starting out. It's just the way it works out. When we start, we're going to start with a 2. All right? And then, because we don't skip a finger and go to 4 for the A flat, do we? We go A flat, B flat. Okay? You could actually start with a 3rd finger there if you wanted to. And then you'd have the 4th finger with B flat. But just starting out, it's just easier to do 2, 3. See, because just starting out, we're just getting started, and then we get into our pattern. All right? So start with a 2, and then once we get up to B flat, we'll start putting a 4 on it. There. There's the 4 on the B flat. 4 octaves. To start out, I go 2, 3, 1. Now I could actually put a 3 on there if I wanted, you know, like I was telling you, and go 3, 4, 1. But that's difficult. I almost said more hard, but it's more difficult. 2, 2, 3, 1. Just to start out, I'll put a 3. I'll put, you know, the 2 on the A flat, 3, 1, and then I'll use a 4 on the B flat everywhere. So I told you these are a little more confusing, just to kind of understand to start with. But then that B flat ends up having the 4 on it. Okay, so if you're a purist and you want to just start everything the same, you know, then put a 3 on the A flat by all means. 3, 4. To me, it's just too much work at the beginning of the scale. I like to do 2, 3. Hands together. And we will learn our broken chords too. We did our white key broken chords. Well, we got black key broken chords to do. We also have white key broken chords that have black keys in them, which we'll get to all of that. All right, got your A flat one down? All right, I hope I didn't confuse you on the right hand, you know, starting with 2, 3 there. But now, D flat. Here we are. How many flats for that one? 5. Okay. It's the 4th scale that we're learning today. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 2 more to go for number 4 and number 5. But it has 5 flats. C had no flats, no sharps. F had 1 flat, 2 flat, 3 flat, 4 flat, 5 flats. B, E, A, D, G are our flats. B, E, A, D, G. So the only thing that's not flatted are the letters C and F when you do the scale of D flat. The key of D flat. Now, I have my asterisk there. So that's an exception to the rule. Okay? So we're not going to start with 3. Or maybe we are. Let's see. Oh, okay. All right. I know what I meant to do. I must have just written that incorrectly. I'm going to change that. I'm not going to do this whole video over just for this one mistake that I made. Let me make sure that I made a mistake though. 3, 2, 1. Yeah. That's a mistake there. So no exception there. Sorry about that. You will start with the 3rd finger, and the 4th finger is going to go on G flat. So I'm sorry about that. I was watching a TV show while I did this and just doing it from my mind. And we get into trouble when we do that, don't we? And I probably messed up the last one too. So we'll fix that as well. But you start with the 3rd finger like the rule says. So there's no exception yet. You start with the 3rd finger on the D flat. 3, 2, 1. I didn't put my G flat. All right, I was just not paying attention, watching my Netflix show. Yeah, all right, there we go. Okay, so there's our 5 flats. B, E, A, D, G. 5 flats. Start with your 3rd finger on D flat, E flat, F. Then you'll cross over for the 4 because that's where your 4th finger goes on G flat. So I've made that correction. Then we end up on D flat. So 3, 2, 1, 4th finger on G flat, 4. Okay, some of you may say, where am I getting all of this? I'm not getting it anywhere. I'm just kind of putting it together the way I have structured it in my own mind, you know, when I had to figure out scales and had to play them for myself, for whatever I was doing. So I'm just passing that on to you. All right, the 4th finger goes on G flat. There we go. It's actually one of those scales where the black keys really guide your fingers and you can really fly on it. works really good. The right hand, let's see if I did that correct. Starting on D flat, starting with 2. That's the rule, right? Yeah, I'll start with a 2. 4 on the B flat. So the 4th finger goes on B flat. Hands together. Okay, so last scale that we need to learn today is the key of G flat, and there it is. It's the 5th scale we're learning today, which takes care of all of the black key scale, all the black key major scales. We haven't even done minor scales yet, but we'll get to that eventually. G flat. So we have 6 flats, but it'll also be F sharp. Okay. All right. When you learn D flat, you also learn C sharp, which we just did. We just did D flat just right now. Well, you also learn the C sharp scale with 7 sharps. 5 flats, 7 sharps, same thing. Now we're about to learn G flat, and you'll learn F sharp at the same time because they're the same scale, okay? So G flat, if you want to think of 6 flats or 6 sharps, it's up to you. I wrote it as flat here, because I'd rather think in flats than sharps for this one. So what did I put here? 4th finger, I put G flat. Hey, I got that one right. There's one exception. All right, it wasn't this one. I got ahead of myself, I think. I was watching my show, and then I don't know. There we go. So G flat, 4th finger. Okay, so that's an exception to the rule, because the rule is left hand starts with 3, but not when you do the G flat scale. You start with a 4. All right, you start with a 4, and that's where the 4th finger goes. That's just where it goes. So G flat. Now it's easier to think what's not flatted in this one. C. C is the only thing that's not flatted. I mean F. Sorry, F's the only thing that's not flatted. C is flatted. That's C flat, right? There's a C. That's C flat. It's weird, isn't it? But that's a C flat. So we have 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Now 4th finger on the G flat. 4. I'm at the top of the scale. I'm just going to use a 2. Come back down. Flying by the seat of my pants there. All right. The scales are not with me like they used to be. All right. Right hand is going to start with a 2. Does that follow the rule? Yes, it does. Start with a 2, and your 4th finger goes on B flat. G flat, A flat, B flat, C flat. There's the 4th finger, all right? So it goes on B flat. At the top, I'm just going to use a 2 on the G flat, and I'm going to come back down. So at the top, you just do a 2 and come back down. 2 octaves. All right, let's go our 4 octaves. There we go. So there are the 5 black key scales. And I've already taught you the 7 white key scales. Get those down, play them hands separately, play them together. The goal is to be able to play hands together in 4 octaves, up and down, evenly. I'd rather you go slower and be able to play even than to have your right hand get ahead of your left hand, which always happens, right? If you don't really have control of it, your right hand speeds up and gets ahead of your left hand. The left hand can't keep up, and then they're off. Keep them steady and work on these, and I guarantee you it'll help you once you get on my website, webpianoteacher.com, and you start to learn the songs that you love. It'll really start to make a difference in that. You'll start seeing scales. You'll start seeing and feeling what it means to be in a key, in these keys of these scales I'm teaching you. and it'll be a roadmap, and it'll make you a better musician. And it's so wonderful to know what you're doing and why, instead of just playing these arbitrary keys and hoping it sounds good, to really know what's going on. Wouldn't you like to know what's going on? Well, that's why we're doing these lessons here. And enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you later.